Stanley, talk a little bit about that, and let's talk a little bit about the individual accolades. At the beginning of the season, everybody talks about Mitty's Aaron Gordon, Rapali's Rashawn Prince, Isaac Hamilton of St. John Bosco. Well, you led your team to victories over most of these teams head-to-head, and that kind of elevated yourself as a junior into Mr. Basketball State Player of the Year conversation. So talk a little bit about that and elevating your game when you knew you had to.
Beginning of the season, I was working hard over the summer to get better. I think the USA experience and Soldier experience winning Peach Jam was kind of got me to a winning mode. I think playing with the best players in the country on the USA team overseas, where there's nobody else but you guys over there, and learning how to win and through adversity because there's nobody there. There's literally nobody over there for us. I think that helped me over the season, the summer and the season. Going into the year, coach had ultra confidence in me. My trainers had ultra confidence in me, and I just had to have ultra confidence in myself. Every game I went into, especially Boston, the big games, I went into hard. I felt like I was really confident in myself. I felt like, I could lead my team to wins. Don't get me wrong, it was, not just me, it was the rest of the team too. But myself personally, I tried to go into every game with extreme confidence. Our coach had really much confidence in me, and that's basically it.
The State Player of the Year is basically coming down to a few select candidates. Talk a little bit about the top candidates and why you think they are the players they are, and then talk a little bit about yourself. Why do you think you deserve the honor, or you are right up there for it?
Well, I'll start with Isaac Hamilton, McDonald's All-American, of course. Great player, great scorer. Had a good season this year. Won the CIF title. Dropped short to Poly in the state championship, but he had a great season. I got some numbers. Rashawn Prince, Poly. He's been doing this for 4 years. Had a great career. Tough season. Went out kind of early to Etowanda and us in the state and CIF playoffs, but he led his team probably 20 and 11 every game. Jabari Bird, also a great scorer. Great season at Salesian. Won a couple good tournaments. Had a great numbers. Aaron Gordon, I think he's the best player in the country. 20 and 20 every game. He's led his team to victory. He's got his team to Open Division State Tournament. Won his CIF for 4 times in a row. 3 state titles. He did a great job, and he deserves it too. Myself, I just lead the team to Open Division title. Dropped short in the CIF. Dropped a couple of losses, but I think I did a pretty good job this year.
Stanley, talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about whether if the word goes to Aaron, have a couple comments on that. And if the word goes to yourself, what will you be thinking?
The word goes to Aaron. It's his senior year. He deserves it. This is his last time to do it. He was a McDonald's All-American. All his kids were McDonald's All-Americans. He's hit a great season. I wouldn't be, if I lose somebody on the list, it'd probably be him. Because I'd be happy with that because he's a great player and he plays really hard. I think he deserves it because he plays really hard and he does all he can for his team. A team that I think I have a little bit better supporting cast than he does. He has to do a lot for his team. His team really depends on him to come and play 20 a night and then win big games, especially versus us. And myself, I think I deserve it because our team won the game. We won over the series of games this season. We're higher ranked than any team out there, and I think I like to judge a player on wins. And on wins, I think I'm the best record on the list.
Jabari, talk a little bit about this season and the top players in the state. Yourself, Dakari Allen, Isaac Hamilton, Aaron Gordon, a lot of very good players. Stanley Johnson as well. Talk a little bit about who you think is up at that level and who should maybe be the state player there, Mr. Basketball.
All the players you mentioned are real great players, but if I had to pick for the state player of the year, it'd probably have to come down between Stanley Johnson and Aaron Gordon. They played for Open Division State title. Really versatile players, so it's come down between those two.
Isaac, talk a little bit about those 3 guys from Northern California. You got Jabari Bird, Marcus Lee, and Aaron Gordon. Talk about that accomplishment and how happy you are a little bit for those guys, and especially for them to get recognition.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy for the guys. Everybody from the West Coast that's even competing on the same level as I am. It's a real honor to play against those guys. I played with them in AAU, a couple of guys, and it's a blessing. And just looking forward for the game tomorrow and see what we're going to do.
One last question, Isaac. Talk a little bit about this whole season. The Player of the Year race, Cal High Sports, Mr. Basketball. Most of you guys competed in the Open Division. Talk about who you like amongst the top candidates.
I'm always put myself out there, but it's Jabari. I think Jabari. Everybody that that's really on it. But the 2 guys that has been really playing well. Aaron Gordon and obviously Stanley. He played in the Open Division for the championship game. And, those 2 are probably the candidates most likely. That might get it. So.
Talk a little bit about Aaron's play so far here. It looks like he's really leading the West in many regards, as far as just his example, leading by example, really hustling and playing hard. And he just picked the University of Arizona. So talk a little bit about Aaron.
Yeah, he's a dominant player, real strong. You know, you can't really guard him because he's just so strong. He bullies you, you know, and he's so athletic. So, you know, he's very hard to guard, and you know, he intimidates a lot of guys. So, you know, when you see him down the court, coming down the lane, you just let him go. And, you know, and he's really put on the show, you know, this weekend in the practices, and you know, I'm really happy for him that he picked the decision. So I know, because I know how that hassle is, asking, you know, where you're going and all that, so I'm happy that he's going to Arizona. And
talk a little bit about yourself. You know, everybody expects Aaron to be here. Jabari plays for a high-profile team. They won a state championship. He plays for the Soldiers. For yourself, 2 years ago, you were more like a guard and just kind of a late bloomer. So talk a little bit about your transgression and then all the way to being here and then going to Kentucky.
I kind of paced myself just trying to get as good as possible. So finally being able to be here with the best, it's real hard.
Marcus, talk a little bit about this season. Yourself, Dakari Allen, Stanley Johnson, Aaron Gordon. Talk a little bit about the top players in the state and who you might think should be Cal High Sports Mr. Basketball.
Just with all these players in Northern California, where it's really hard to pick the best, but I really think it should be going to Arizona.